Have you ever looked at a map on your phone and wondered, how on earth does the GPS know exactly where I am? Or maybe you stared up at a massive, towering skyscraper and tried to wrap your head around how architects and engineers design those blueprints with such absolute pinpoint precision. I mean, it almost feels like magic, right? Well, it's not magic. The secret actually lies in a remarkably simple, foundational mathematical system. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to unpack the elegant system that lets us describe positions, directions, and shapes using nothing more than numbers. We're diving into the absolute basics of coordinate geometry, focusing specifically on the Cartesian plane, axes, and straight lines. It's going to be a lot of fun. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start off with the grid of our world, then unpack axes and quadrants, dissect the anatomy of a line, master the gradient, which is rise over run, and finish up by looking at real-world coordinate geometry. Let's get right into it. All right, section 1, the grid of our world. Think of coordinate geometry as, well, the ultimate map of our physical and digital reality. And the entire foundation of this system is something called the Cartesian plane. Honestly, it's just a two-dimensional flat surface. But what makes it so powerful is that it gives us a perfectly standardized way to locate any specific point using pairs of numbers, which we call coordinates. It literally takes abstract physical space and turns it into a highly organized mathematical grid. Now, what's really truly fascinating here is the history behind the name. It's called the Cartesian plane because it was invented by René Descartes, a brilliant French mathematician and philosopher way back in the 1600s. Just think about that for a second. A philosopher from the 17th century basically invented the structural foundation for modern video game graphics, GPS, and digital mapping. That is just wild to me. So how does this grid actually work in practice? Well, it's built on two perpendicular number lines that cross each other right dead in the middle, at a point we call the origin. The coordinates for this origin are simply 0, 0. From there, every single point on the plane is represented as an ordered pair of numbers written as x, y. It's basically a set of walking instructions. For instance, if you get the coordinates 3, 2, that tells you to start at the origin, move 3 units to the right and 2 units up. Or if you have -2, -4, you just start at the origin, go 2 units to the left and 4 units down. It really is that simple. Moving right along to section 2, axes and quadrants explained. Okay, so we know how to walk the grid, but we really need to understand the major highways that divide it. Those perpendicular number lines we just talked about, they have specific names. The horizontal line is the x-axis. Every point sitting directly on this line has a y value of exactly 0. In the real world, the x-axis usually represents independent variables. Think things like time or distance. On the flip side, the vertical line is the y-axis. Every point here has an x value of 0. This axis is typically your go-to for dependent variables, like growth, height, or cost. And notice how the signs of the coordinates change depending on where you're hanging out. These crossing axes chop our flat map into 4 distinct neighborhoods, known as quadrants. In quadrant 1, up in the top right, everything is positive. You move right, you move up. Easy. In quadrant 2, top left, x is negative, but y is still positive. Down in quadrant 3, bottom left, everything is negative. And finally, quadrant 4, bottom right, x is positive again, but y is negative. This whole system gives us an instant, intuitive sense of direction. Let's jump into section 3, the anatomy of a line.
All right, we've got our grid set up, we know our quadrants. Let's start plotting some actual movement across this map. When you draw a straight line on a Cartesian plane, you aren't just doodling. You're actually showing a direct, constant mathematical relationship between x and y. Because the rate of change is perfectly constant, straight lines are unbelievably useful for modeling things that happen steadily, like uniform speed, steady financial growth, or proportional relationships in physics.
And because this line represents a relationship, we can express it mathematically with the famous equation of a straight line, y equals mx plus c. Now, look, if you haven't taken algebra in a while, formulas can seem a little intimidating, but I promise you, this isn't a scary equation at all. Think of it as a very reliable set of instructions.
Let's break those instructions down. The two key players here are m and c. The m stands for the gradient, or the slope. It tells us exactly how steep the line is. That's our constant rate of change. The c, on the other hand, is the y-intercept. This is literally just the spot where the line crosses the y-axis. It's your starting point before any change in x even happens. Think of it like your initial upfront cost or a starting temperature.
Let's make this totally concrete with an example. Y equals 2x plus 1. Look at the starting coordinate. Your y-intercept, your c, is 1. That means you drop your starting pin right at the coordinate 0, 1. Now, your gradient, your m, is 2. This means that for every one step you take across the x-axis, your line climbs 2 steps up the y-axis. So you start at 1, go across 1, up 2, across 1, up 2. That steady, predictable climb, that is exactly what creates the straight line.
All right, section 4, gradient, also known as rise over run. So we know that m is the steepness, but how do we actually calculate it if we're just staring at a line on a graph? Well, the gradient measures that exact steepness. Think of it like the pitch of a physical staircase or, say, a wheelchair ramp. You need to know exactly how much vertical change happens over a specific amount of horizontal distance. And calculating this is beautifully simple. It's literally just a 3-step recipe. Step 1, find the rise, which is just how much the line goes up or down between 2 points. Step 2, find the run, which is how much the line goes across, left or right, between those exact same 2 points. Step 3, divide the rise by the run. That's it. If your line goes up 3 units and across 2 units, your gradient is simply 3 divided by 2. So 1.5. Now, depending on the direction of your line, your gradient is going to fall into one of 4 distinct categories. A positive gradient means the line slopes upwards from left to right, an uphill climb. A negative gradient means it slopes downwards. A zero gradient means the line is perfectly flat. There's literally no rise at all. And an undefined gradient, that's a perfectly vertical line, straight up and down, where there is 0 horizontal run. Which brings us to our final stop, section 5, real-world coordinate geometry. Now for the absolute best part. Let's zoom out and look at the real-world magic this math makes possible every single day. You might not realize it, but you are interacting with Cartesian planes and gradients constantly. Navigation apps use exact x and y coordinates to pinpoint your location on Earth. Architects use this grid and calculate gradients to design precise blueprints and safe roof slopes. Economists use straight lines to map out profit trends. Physicists use gradients on speed time graphs to figure out acceleration.
Honestly, even the screen you are watching this explainer on right now operates on this exact principle. Every single pixel is plotted using X and Y coordinates, which is what allows for crisp images and smooth animations. And of course, everyday physical safety, like the strict measurement of a wheelchair ramp's gradient, relies entirely on our good old friend rise over run.
We've covered a lot of ground today, right? From a 17th century philosopher's brilliant invention to the complex algorithms powering our digital screens, the Cartesian plane, straight lines, Y-intercepts, and gradients, they are way more than just abstract math class concepts. They are the literal architectural framework of our modern world. So the next time you drop a pin on a map or just walk up a flight of stairs, ask yourself, if coordinates and straight lines are quietly shaping the world around you, what invisible grid are you standing on right now? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the fascinating systems that make up our world.